Okay, let's go somewhere. Picture a huge, bustling open-air market in Lagos, Nigeria. You can hear the sounds of people talking, bargaining, it's alive. And right in the middle of all that chaos, we're going to focus on one simple thing. A tomato. Yeah, a tomato. Because this little red fruit, it's about to teach us how the entire world's economy actually works.
So really, what can a single tomato show us? How on earth can its journey from some farm to a cooking pot explain this complex dance of prices, of scarcity, and of human creativity? Well, that's exactly the question we're here to answer.
Our story kicks off with a problem, a big problem. Suddenly, there just aren't enough tomatoes to go around. And this whole crisis lands right at the feet of our first character, a veteran seller named Mama Tolu.
Imagine this. She shows up to her stall, all set for a busy day. But something's really off. Her usual mountain of bright red tomatoes? Well, today it's barely a hill. Turns out, heavy rains have totally flooded the farms, wiping out a huge chunk of the crop. This is what economists call a supply shock. And trust me, its effects are about to ripple through this entire market.
Okay, let's break this down because this is the #1 rule of any market. You've got way fewer tomatoes, that's your low supply, but everyone in Lagos still wants to cook their jollof rice and their stews, that's your high demand. When those two things happen at the same time, something's got to give, and that something is always the price. It has to go up.
And just as the supply is getting squeezed, demand is about to go through the roof. This is where we meet two more people. Aisha, a customer who's in a real bind, and Chinedu, a young guy who's watching all of this unfold with some very, very sharp eyes.
See, Aisha isn't just picking up a few things for dinner. She's got a massive family wedding this weekend, and tomatoes are absolutely non-negotiable. She needs them, period. So she's willing to pay more because, well, she doesn't have a choice. This is what we call intense, inflexible demand, and it's like pouring gasoline on the fire of those rising prices.
And if you look at it from Mama Tolu's side, the math is dead simple. She's running a business here. She has less to sell and customers like Aisha who are desperate to buy. So raising her prices, it's not greedy, it's just the most logical response to the market she's in.
But here is the really cool thing about markets. They don't just sit there and take it. The news of sky-high tomato prices in Lagos spreads like wildfire. And that high price, it acts like a giant flashing sign that says, "Opportunity here." And other people are about to answer that call.
And just like that, new sellers start showing up. They've trucked in tomatoes from towns that weren't hit by the rain, and to get customers' attention fast, what do? They sell for just a little bit less. All of a sudden, customers like Aisha actually have a choice. The game has changed. You see, this is like the market's natural defense mechanism kicking in. Competition is the force that stops prices from just going up forever. It brings in new supply, it gives the power back to the buyer, and it forces sellers like Mama Tolu to rethink their prices. It brings balance.
Now, while everyone else is scrambling over today's prices, our friend Chinedu is thinking on a totally different level. He's looking at the bigger picture here, and he sees a deeper problem, one that comes back year after year. He has this aha moment. The market swings from these crazy periods of scarcity, like today, to times of total surplus, where farmers have so many tomatoes they just rot on the vine. The real villain here isn't the rain, it's waste. It's the fact that they can't save the good times for the bad times.
And this insight leads him to ask a truly game-changing question. What if you could just break that cycle? What if you could bottle up the sunshine from the harvest season and use it to solve the scarcity of the rainy season? That question right there is the seed of an incredible idea.
And this is how a simple observation turns into a real business plan. He's not just thinking about selling tomatoes anymore. He's thinking about building a system. Step 1, invest in cold storage. Step 2, buy tomatoes for cheap when they're everywhere. And Step 3, sell them when they're desperately needed, smoothing out the supply for everyone.
See what happened? Chinedu just leveled up. He's no longer just a player in the market, he's becoming a market maker. And that is the very heart of entrepreneurship. Seeing a problem not as a roadblock, but as a business opportunity just waiting for an innovative solution.
So let's just zoom out for a second and think about what this simple story about tomatoes actually taught us. Every single person, every decision they made, it was a living, breathing economics lesson. We saw that supply and demand aren't just buzzwords in a textbook. They decide how much you pay for your food. We saw how something totally out of our control, like the weather, can shake the entire system. But, and this is the important part,
We also saw how markets can heal themselves through competition, and even better, how a single person with a good idea can create a real, lasting solution that makes life better for everybody.
And that's really the big takeaway here. The next time you're at the store or market, I want you to look a little closer. Because inside the price of a tomato, or a gallon of milk, or a cup of coffee, there's a whole fascinating story playing out. It's a story of supply, demand, competition, and the amazing human drive to find a better way.